Dozens of countries have already donated billions in humanitarian and military aid, including $17 billion from the US, £4 billion from the United Kingdom and $385 million from Australia. Again, Germany and Norway have provided Ukraine with air defence systems to shield it from further Russian missile strikes, and more hardware is on its way from the US. But still, Zelensky wants us to escalate the conflict. What's in that for us? Zelensky is worried that Putin, whose forces in Ukraine are now in disarray, will deploy a nuke first. The likelihood of this is admittedly increasing. The leaders of the G7 have warned, quote unquote, severe consequences if Putin pulls that trigger. But Zelensky and other Western leaders don't seem to have any innovative ideas about how to get out of this. Perhaps the most surprising intervention in this impasse is from Elon Musk, the man who was about to take over Twitter and who took time off closing this deal to ask on Twitter in a poll whether the UN should be called in to oversee elections in disputed regions about whether they want to stay in Ukraine or shift over to Russia. The UN cops a lot of deserved stick these days for being part of the global elite, but you have to say that if it does get anything right, it is supervising elections. UN-supervised elections helped destroy the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia in 1993, and it helped the East Timorese choose independence in 1999. It's a long shot, admittedly, a very long one, that Putin would agree to it, but it would offer him an off-ramp with at least some of his dignity intact if he would allow the UN to let the people decide in an election. Curiously, this proposal came not from one of the elite international diplomatic class, but from a freewheeling businessman and entrepreneur, Elon Musk. Why is that? Well, the answer to that might be found in the speech that preceded Kennedy's inauguration. That would be the farewell speech by Dwight Eisenhower, his presidential predecessor. Eisenhower said governments must, quote, guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the, wait for it, military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist, unquote. That misplaced power seems to have grown since then. If this conflict does turn nuclear, the military-industrial complex will be one of the few beneficiaries.